I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer in November of 2014. So I'll be coming up on 10 years. And I count it indeed a blessing to be standing here today. For those of you all that know me, you know for years I've always wanted to do something to empower women, but I never really kind of knew what that looked like. I didn't have a clear picture of what that looked like. And it wasn't until I traveled the cancer journey that the picture became clearer. The journey was tough. There were a lot of roadblocks, setbacks, detours, you name it, but God is faithful and God is good. And the picture became clearer, and today my vision actually becomes a reality. So I am so happy to be standing here. I'm happy for you all to be here to celebrate with me today. It is our hope. We have some excellent speakers. They're prominent in their fields, and they're going to be giving you some information. So for those of you in your bags, there are notebooks with pens. So you may want to take that notebook out so that you can take you some good notes. Okay, and I'll thank the speakers later, but right now I just want to say welcome again. Thank you all for coming. Have a great day.
I don't know if many of you heard what Deidre said. When she was diagnosed in 2014, she was stage 4. There is no stage 5. So it is a blessing. The mental health, which we're going to be talking about, the faith, which we're going to be talking about, and the medicine, which we're going to be talking about, that has made her stay here for 10 more years. So that is amazing. She is a dedicated healthcare professional with a passion for providing comprehensive and integrative healthcare solutions. She holds an advanced nurse practitioner master's degree in family medicine from Chamberlain University, and she's committed to delivering patient-centered care that encompasses both traditional and holistic approaches to health. In her current role, she specializes in integrative medicine, where she collaborates with patients to develop holistic health plans that address their physical, mental, and emotional well-being. This approach reflects her belief in the power of treating the whole person and not just the symptoms. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Marie Lumbart. And last but not least, a person that I know very well. I saw the back of her for many, many weeks online. She is my line sister, and she is my front. Ms. Delvena R. Thomas, Dr. Delvena R. Thomas is a mother, soldier, scientist, and physician, advocating tirelessly for healthy living to strengthen individuals, families, communities, workplaces around the world. She is trained in medicine and psychiatry from the University of Maryland in Baltimore, and she is board certified in psychiatry, neurology, and maintains a private practice in psychotherapy. She is a lieutenant colonel, because she's a bad girl, in the Army Reserve, and an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran who has completed 3 combat tours. Affectionately known as Dr. Delvena, she is the author and producer of her own podcast, the Brain Love Podcast, which also bears the name of her nonprofit organization, the DRT Brain Love Foundation, which was formed in 2018. You can find her latest mental health books on Amazon titled Brain Sleep and Brain Food, and yes, she is an active member of the Devastating Divas of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And my line sister. All right. So we're going to get started now with our first speaker, and that would be you, Dr. Carcas. Come on.
Thank you. And I have to tell you that this is a huge honor. I have known Deidre for 10 years. And over the course of these 10 years, not only has she been my patient, but she has been a dear friend. And that's the beauty of oncology, actually. That's exactly why I chose oncology, is you get to develop a long-term relationship with your patients. And you love them, even if it hurts to love them, because often in oncology, love hurts. But this is why I do it, because selfishly, it's very fulfilling. I get to know wonderful people that want to change the way we all are dealing with this, the way we all are touched by this, because not one of us are free from being touched from cancer or by cancer in this room. What I'm going to talk to you about today is not about necessarily the treatments, the science. We're going to talk a little bit about what cancer is, and then we're going to talk about how do we prevent, how do we get through treatment, and what do we do after? Because it really is just like this, living healthy before, during, and after. Cancer happens in healthy people. You can be, I have everything. I have the whole gamut. I have the marathon runner, vegan, who doesn't touch anything, has cancer. I have the opposite, who eats fast food, overweight, doesn't move, has cancer. And they're in the same boat. Our bodies, as well as we can do, don't always do what we want them to do. We can optimize things, and we can prevent things, and we can maximize our ability to fight, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The first thing that I want to talk about, I don't know where I point this. To you. Can you just go to the next slide? Perfect. So what is our goal in cancer care? Next slide. It's prevention. It's super important. I'm going to take this out because it will make it easier. This is your cell, and maybe it has a gene mutation, maybe it became resistant because of some exposure, but this cell lost its signal to die. So what does it start to do? It starts to overgrow. We call that hyperplasia. So it's overgrowing, but it's creating the same cell, and it's overgrowing in its place where it's allowed to be. But eventually, it's not keeping the same cell. It's starting to mutate, morph, become a little bit more ugly. And as it does that, we call that dysplasia. That means that the cell is now abnormal. It can't die, and it's abnormal. And when it becomes abnormal, it actually starts to grow that abnormal cell. And we call that cancer, carcinoma, adenocarcinoma. All of the carcinomas have, or all of the cancers have some word in there that says carcinoma, because that's Latin for cancer. And it continues to grow, but you can see that it's still above this little layer, okay? That's the layer of wherever it is, in the colon, in the breast, wherever. It didn't invade. However, as it continues to gain power and strength, it invades through that layer of the breast, that layer of the colon, of the ovary. So now it's invasive carcinoma. And now it can gain access to the blood circulation, and it can spread. And that's really what cancer is. It was a normal cell that lost its signal to die, that overgrew, lost control of its organized growth, and invaded eventually into circulation, either through the lymphatics, which is your lymph system, or through the blood system. But how do we prevent it? There's something called modifiable risk factors. We have risk factors and modifiable risk factors. Risk factors you cannot modify are who your mom and dad are. We would sometimes like to choose different parents, but we can't, okay? So you can't change who the parent is. So that's a non-modifiable. But the modifiables are the things like what we put in our body. What we put in our body really can impact what our body does with that energy. We can change alcohol. Alcohol is a risk factor. More than 2 drinks, alcoholic drinks. Now, my patients, I always ask how many drinks per week, and that does not mean bottles per week. That means drinks per week. And that's an important thing to know, because more than 2 servings of alcohol per week increase the risk of breast cancer by about 20%. It's a big number. More than 3, 4, 6 continues to increase. That's the same thing in most other cancers, that alcohol impacts that. And a lot of people don't talk about that. It's important. Smoking. Smoking does not allow our cells to repair themselves. When they start to lose that signal, our body has cleanup crews and they say, oh, this cell's doing something weird. Let me fix it. But if you smoke, that cell doesn't know how to fix it. So there are a lot of things that we can make sure that we're not putting into our body. What we do with our body. What we do with our body is so important. And I'm the first to tell you that I do not practice what I preach. It is hard. We are busy. Women are expected to carry the mental load of an entire family, to work full time, to take care of children, to make sure the kids know what day the assignments due. I just sent my kid on his first overnight field trip without a penny. Not a penny. He went to Orlando for 48 hours and I gave him everything except for money. Fortunately, he didn't need it because everything was included, but I still felt like Mother of the Year. It's hard to balance all the things that we do, but physical activity can reduce that risk of cancer by about 20%. And it doesn't have to be marathon training. It can be hoofing it around your neighborhood for 15 minutes a day after you eat, when it's nice and cool in the summer heat, right? Wait till the sun goes down, but go walk 15 minutes. You don't have to do something huge, but what we do with our body is so important. How we think of our body. Never underestimate, and you're gonna hear from somebody that this is her specialty, never underestimate the power of your mind. Deetra is a perfect example of the power of your mind. People who think they will do well, do better. Uniformly. My patients who think they will do poorly, do poorly. We manifest our thoughts. How many times have you thought, well, in 5 years I want to be here? And if you focus on it, you make it happen. Not just by the work you do, but by the mental strength that you think you will get there. Mind-body connection is so important. And knowing our risks. This is the science part of it. If you don't talk, you can't know. Cancer is not taboo. It is not taboo. And I see in all of the different cultures of patients that I treat, some patients say, do not even mention it. Don't tell anybody. Some patients stand on a platform and tell the world because it helps. If you do not know what your family history is, you are at risk. You need to know what your grandparents died from. You need to know if they died early, because maybe they died at 35 or 40. They didn't live long enough to get cancer. That's also important. If you have no women on one whole side of your family, your dad only has brothers, and then your grandmother, your dad's mother, died really young from something that's not cancerous, you have no idea what that side of the family history is then, right? When it comes to women's cancers. That's a reason to discuss your risk with a specialist, because genetic testing, family history, is such an important thing to know. I just recently had a 34-year-old patient pass away. She has the BRCA mutation, and she didn't know. So by the time she was diagnosed, she had cancer everywhere. And she did beautifully for about 18 months, and then has unfortunately passed away. But imagine now that that family has the power to not let her die in vain, because they know there's a gene mutation in that family. So everybody else can be tested to prevent a cancer diagnosis. It's prevention that we do better than cure. Getting our screenings. Nobody likes to be scoped for colon cancer. Nobody likes it, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. Nobody likes to get a pap smear. Nobody likes to get a bimanual vaginal exam. Nobody likes to get a mammogram. But if it could save your life, would you do it? Absolutely. There are not excuses for doing this. There's a reason that these are screenings. Breast cancer screenings, mammogram, should start at age 40 if you have a normal risk, meaning nobody in your family with breast cancer. It should be done with an ultrasound if you have dense breast. You need both. Pap smears, start early. If you're sexually active early, start early when you become sexually active, because most cervical cancers can be prevented by knowing that the cells are a little bit abnormal in that early dysplasia category with a pap smear. We can detect that on a pap smear, and then you can prevent. It's all about prevention. Ovarian cancer is hard. We don't have great prevention. But if we recognize that there's a gene mutation associated with it, which often is the case, more than 15-20% of the time, it's associated with an inherited gene mutation from mom and dad, we then recommend removing ovaries after you have children to prevent that, along with tubes, or we start kind of subpar screening, but some screening's better than no screening to try to catch it at an early stage. Colon cancer is the only screening that is also prevention. Doing your little Cologuard is helpful, but it only detects about 85% of cancers. Doing a colonoscopy detects about 99% of cancers, but it also prevents cancer, because if you have a polyp, which is what a colonoscopy is looking for, you take it off, and then that polyp cannot become cancer. So the one that most people are afraid of is the colonoscopy, because they feel very violated by that. There's no excuse for it. You're asleep. You don't know the difference. Okay? You don't know this. You don't know the difference. And the good news is, if it's clear, you don't have to go back for 10 years or 5 years if you have a family history. Okay? So once a decade isn't so bad to save your life. And sharing our stories, days like today. This is a popcorn effect. I have a patient who is a high school principal, and when she found out that she had breast cancer, she didn't want to tell anybody. And then about 18 months later, she was through everything, kind of in a different space in her mind, and she had a whole morning announcement on it over the TV. They now do, announcements over the TV. We had the little good morning. Yeah, different. So she did the whole thing, and she got 2 letters because those children went home and they talked to their parents, and 2 kids encouraged their mom to go get a mammogram. Wow. And 2 moms were diagnosed with early stage breast cancer. It's a popcorn effect. You guys are here. You're gonna feel today. You're gonna share this with your loved ones. They're going to do something, and guaranteed a life will be saved or changed by doing so.
We do too. That was just even explaining what the cancer was and everything. However, I'm gonna have to say, when you said, relax, sit back, ma'am, you're in a room full of deltas. We don't know how to do that. What are you talking about? We keep working through everything. So, but thank you so much for that information. All right, coming up next, we have our physical therapist, the Director of Therapy Concepts, and me, Felicia Freeman.
Good morning, and thank you.
Good morning.
And thank you. Great segue, Dr. Carcas, into what I'll be discussing with you this morning. And let me figure this thing out first. Put my glasses on so you can see it. So yes, I'm a physical therapist. I've been practicing for a little over 40 years. Oncology rehab has been my specialty for the last 15 years. The 13 years I worked for the University of Miami, a hospital, specializing in treating most of their oncology patients, predominantly the breast cancer patient population. My practice, I opened 3 years ago in Coral Gables. I still specialize in oncology rehab, and I see patients that have been diagnosed with breast cancer, head and neck cancers, uterine cancer, any type of oncology diagnosis. I see those patients because they all need one of me around after they have gone through their diagnoses and their medical treatment. And so, as I said, it was a great segue into what I'll be
program, we have our registered nurse speaker from Memorial Healthcare System to come up. We have Marie Lumbart. Let's give her a round of applause. Looking all official today and everything. I like it.
My lab coat just came, so I was so excited to wear it. Okay. Do you guys hear my heartbeat? Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marie Lumbart. I'm an advanced nurse practitioner with the Division of Integrative Medicine for Memorial Healthcare System. I consider it a privilege. I got the opportunity to be part of this wonderful day, this launch, on day 2 of work. I literally just started, and they asked, there's this wonderful organization that we want to be part of, and unfortunately, Dr. Mehta had other engagements, so he asked if I could do it, and when I read about Empowered to Thrive, I said, no, I have to do it. So this is basically my first public speaking gig, so. First, I want to start off with a celebration. When you come to integrative medicine, Dr. Mehta always says, let's celebrate something. We have to show gratitude. So I want to celebrate you guys for taking the time out to be here to learn about such an important topic because it affects all of us. So we're going to go into the unlocking comprehensive care that integrative medicine can offer cancer patients. Okay, so we all have been touched by someone who has cancer. And my children who are just born are touched by someone who has cancer in the family. So in some way, cancer, I don't want to say touch, because cancer doesn't touch. It's not that gentle. Cancer impacts us in some way, somehow. So let's begin by acknowledging the journey that cancer patients have to go through. A cancer diagnosis is not just a physical one, it's also emotional, it's also mental. When you hear the words, you have cancer, the entire landscape of your life is forever changed. You will become a different person, and you have to be. The mental and emotional toll of navigating through uncertainty, fear, life-altering treatments is significant. Your new role now, if you have been diagnosed with cancer, you are now the commander of a battleground where developing resilience, courage, and coping mechanism is going to be your new normal every day. But you have a team. As we have mentioned, you have a village, and now you also have integrative medicine that could help address this multi-dimensional struggle. You're not fighting alone. How many of you have heard of integrative medicine? Yes, yes. Hopefully one day we'll see 100% of the hands go up of people familiar with integrative medicine. So what is integrative medicine? Integrative medicine is a comprehensive healthcare approach that takes into account a person's physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. How many of you went to the doctor and they say, how is your spirituality? No. So because we're not just our disease, we are a whole person. And these are the different aspects of our life. Integrative medicine combines evidence-based conventional medicine along with alternative therapies, and we focus on the whole person and not just the disease. We take into account, we recognize the interconnectedness of spirit, the mind, and the body. We offer a personalized approach to healing. So we consider your lifestyle, we consider your emotions. We take all that into account in the treatment plan. So let me stress one point, because sometimes we get patients and they say, I don't want to take this chemo, I don't want to take this radiation. Integrative medicine is not a replacement for your conventional cancer treatments. We're not going to tell you don't take it. You need to take it. This is what is the treatment plans for cancer. But we work hand in hand as a complement. We work with your oncologists. We work with your surgeons. We work with your radiologists to help you. We want to build that bridge of collaboration so we could fuse the traditional and complementary modalities to help you. So our aim is to help you manage your symptoms, alleviate your side effects, improve your quality of life before, during, and after treatment. So I want to stress another point, because we hear integrative medicine, we hear of holistic medicine, and sometimes it's like, oh, here's a tea. It's not, that's not how it is. So integrative medicine is supported by evidence. All the recommendation and the treatment plans is supported by scientific research. We recommend therapies that have demonstrated effectiveness through rigorous scientific and clinical trials. So if we say, hey, start incorporating some soy products because of the isoflavones into your diet, start incorporating flax seeds, we have a basis because it has shown to help with your cancer, to help alleviate, to help with the treatment of the cancer. So raise your hand in this room if you have no stress. Okay, I know it's a loaded question. So we all have stresses. We could acknowledge, even my kids have stresses, going to school every day and thinking, Mama, we had a drill and we hid in the bathroom. But, you know, there's stresses, even for the young ones. We have internal stresses when we have negative talk, when we have, when we feel like we're not enough. We have external stresses with your boss, your spouse, your children, your parents, the person at the DMV. Somebody else's bad day will end up being your bad day. We can't help it. But is all stress bad? We need stress. We need stress to wake us up in the morning. Our cortisol is a stress hormone that tells us it's time to wake up. So the question is, we need some sort of stress to get us through, to motivate us, but we don't want to live here. We don't want to live in that stressful, chronic state all the time, because that fuels disease, that fuels our body to be receptive to diseases such as cancers, such as metabolic disease, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension. All of these, stress is an important factor. We need some degree of stress. But one powerful aspect of integrative medicine is the emphasis on mind and body connection. So we all go through stress, but unfortunately, we were never taught how to cope with it. They don't teach you in school how to deal with stress. That's unfortunate. So mind and body practice connection is a big part of integrative medicine. And again, like I said, we are scientific based. Techniques such as 4-7-8 breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, mindfulness have shown to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. These practices not only improve your mental well-being, but they positively impact your body's ability to heal. So this is a research study that looked at 136 participants. These were cancer patients, and there's an experimental group and control group in every study. They divided them equally, and both groups got conventional treatments. They got the chemo radiation, they got a nutritionist, they got visits from nurses. But one group, they also added mindfulness practices to to their treatment plan. And the result, at the end of the study, they gave them surveys of how you felt. The conclusion is that the patient who were suffering from early stage breast cancer, who received conventional treatment, chemotherapy, and also mindfulness yoga practices showed improvement in anxiety and depressive symptoms. It does work. We're not used to it because we were never taught, we were never raised. Dr. Ashwin Mehta, he calls himself a yogi because that's how he was raised. So sometimes he's in the office and I see him doing his breathing exercises and he's so mellow and I want to be like that. So nutrition is another aspect that integrative medicine addresses. Nutrition is so critical to caring, not just, even whether you have cancer or not, nutrition is important. So integrative medicine emphasizes personalized approach to diet. We focus on anti-inflammatory foods, foods rich in antioxidants, a well-balanced nutrition plan. Nutrition supports your body's resilience to be able to not stay in that chronic, stressful state all the time. So let's see what the science says. In 2020, there was a prospective cohort study that looked at long-term effects using an anti-inflammatory approach to patients who were suffering from breast cancer. The result looked at over 1,000 females with breast cancer, and the conclusion was long-term anti-inflammatory diet improve your survival rate, your prognosis. Okay, and we're going to get into later about what is an anti-inflammatory nutrition plan. I know everybody's looking at the needles. How many of you have ever heard or experienced acupuncture? That's awesome. How was it?
You don't feel anything.
Yeah, it was good? Good. I've never experienced it, but that's on my bucket list. So acupuncture is a ancient healing practice that comes from traditional Chinese medicine. And it involves taking very little thin needles that I've heard that Florida's mosquitoes bite is worse than that, right? It's very thin. And they put it in certain areas of the skin, and they believe that it's connected to your body's energy pathway, and it kind of balances out your energy. We are electric beings. So it balances out your energy to help with your process of healing. I can't find my mouse. So let's look at, oops, sorry. So again, this is another study. Sorry, I can't find my mouse. This is a study that looked at oncology patients, and they incorporated integrative medicine services, which included acupuncture. And they found that those who took the acupuncture had less anxiety and pain. Okay, so this is a study that reflects that. So acupuncture is generally considered safe if it's done by a trained professional. So we do have at Memorial certified acupuncturists that work in our clinic, and many find it helpful. It doesn't work for everybody. I'm not gonna say it's 100%, but many have found it very helpful. So acupuncture can be used for different things: nausea, vomiting. When you're getting chemo, you will get a lot of neuropathy. You will lose feelings in your hands and your feet. And acupuncture is excellent to help relieve that, along with other modalities. Fatigue, hot flashes, sleeping problems, acupuncture is beneficial for. So we looked at mind-body practices, we looked at nutrition, we looked at therapies like acupuncture. What else does integrative medicine offer? Sleep. How many of you are satisfied with your sleep quality? Could it be better? Yes. So inadequate sleep plays a crucial role in maintaining your overall health. This is when your body rejuvenates. This is when your body starts detoxifying. So if you're not getting enough quality sleep or added quality sleep, it will impact your healing process. Research suggests that consistent good quality sleep is linked to lowering risk of certain types of cancers. Now, Dr. APRN Mehta is a board certified sleep doctor. So along with integrative practices, he is our sleep specialist. So if you find, regardless of cancer, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to manage your diabetes, if you're not getting enough sleep, everything else is futile that you're doing, okay? So sleep is a huge component. And unfortunately in this society, many say, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. You'll get there faster if you're not sleeping, right? So sleep is so important. Another service that we do offer is weight management. We like to call it improving body composition. We don't want to just focus on the number on the scale, but excess weight, excess body fat is a huge, huge risk factor for cancer. Why? Because your adipose tissue, your fat tissue, have a mind of its own. It starts regulating your hormones. It starts dictating how much estrogen you produce. So maintaining a good body weight is crucial. So that should be part of your plan. Research indicates excess body weight can increase your likelihood of developing various cancers, breast, colorectal, pancreatic cancer. Okay. We also have a green pharmacy. Many people will come to us and say, what can I take? What supplements can I take? And supplements only offer a small percentage of the benefit. We like to say it's food first. If you can't get what you need from food, then we use a supplement to kind of give you that boost. But you're not gonna find the cure in a pill. It's an overall lifestyle change. So we do recommend certain brands of vitamins because supplements are not regulated. You don't know what you're getting when you order it from Amazon. So we do have certain brands that have proven to be, that have good quality and good potency, that basically what's on the label is what you're getting, okay? We also use therapeutic massage. Tamara G, massage, right? Say the word. So that's excellent to relieve pain, to reduce anxiety, to reduce stress. We also have a exercise recovery program to get you back into, because movement is also medicine, okay? So integrative medicine, the strength is its personalized approach to care. Each patient is unique, and the treatment plan should reflect that. So we tailor intervention based on our individual needs. We optimize the outcomes based on what the patient can do. So what happens after the cancer treatments? What happens after? So we are your team. We are still with you when you're living beyond cancer. Again, you're not fighting alone. We do have a survivorship where we could promote long-term wellness. Because during your cancer treatments, yeah, I'm eating the anti-inflammatory. Once it's done, you don't want to go back there. Because some of the risk factors to getting cancer does involve nutrition, choosing what to eat. So we continue to, you might not see us as often, but we touch base to make sure that the lifestyle modification you were doing while in treatment, you continue. Because we love you, but we don't want to see you back again when it says, oh, it came back. But we'll still be here for you if that's the case. So, integrative medicine, we fuse mind, body, spirit to produce that balance to help you get through that cancer journey. That's what I have. Do you want to do nutrition now? We'll do it after.
You want to do
So nutrition.
You got
No.
10 minutes, so it's up to you.
Let's do the raffle.
Oh, okay.
Like everybody happy, and then we could.
All right. So we are, Maria, are you coming back up or you, okay, yes.
Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about nutrition. So there's a quote that says, "Let food be thy medicine, and thy medicine thy food." Now this is coined by Hippocrates, which is an ancient Greek physician considered the father of Western medicine. So this quote expresses that the food that we eat can either harm us or they could heal us. So and Hippocrates believed that if you consume wholesome, nutrient-rich foods, you can harness the power of nature to heal your body. So first, let's look at what the foundation of food is. There's 4 major categories of food. This is just gonna be a quick nutrition foundation lesson. So they're known as 4 macronutrients, okay? And you'll be familiar. The first one is carbohydrate. Yes. So carbohydrates, yes. We love carbohydrates. So basically the macronutrient sets the foundation for our nutrition. Carbohydrate is our primary fuel source of energy. We use it as fuels. Our brain needs it, our tissues, our muscles. We love carbohydrates. In carbohydrates, there's 2 categories. We have complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are those that have fiber. So when you break down carbohydrates, you start breaking them down in the mouth, and it becomes that instant sugar that you need for your energy. Complex carbohydrates will give you kind of a sustained energy. So it won't spike your sugar up too high because of the fiber. Simple carbohydrates is complex carbohydrate examples, fruits, vegetables, beans, legumes, whole grains, starchy foods like potatoes. Simple carbohydrates are called monosaccharides, disaccharides, but they give you a quick burst of energy, short-lived. It spikes up your blood sugar, but then you also have a crash afterwards. And those are your white flours, your simple sugars, honey. Those are considered carbohydrates. The next one, protein. Protein, we need proteins, essential for growth, for repair, for maintenance of our tissues, right? It plays a crucial role in our enzymes, hormones, antibodies, and muscle tissue. There are 9 essential amino acids. So when we eat protein, it starts getting digested in our stomach with the acid in the stomach. And when it breaks it down, our body absorbs it. It turns into many different steps, but at the end, it becomes amino acids. And those amino acids is what we need that our cells to start building. Just like carbohydrates, there are 2 different types of protein. We have animal protein and we have plant protein. Animal protein, of course, from animals: meat, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy. Tamara G is like, yes. And animal protein is considered a complete source of protein. It's complete because those 9 essential amino acids is found in animal protein. It's meat, so it has everything it needs. Plant protein is also a protein. We get it from vegetables, we get it from beans, but it's an incomplete protein because either one or more of those amino acids that our body needs is not in plant. But the creator made it so that if you combine certain plant proteins, it then becomes a complete protein. Okay? So if you choose to eat just plant proteins, you will get all the amino acid that you need in plant protein, if that's your choice. Okay? So some example of plant proteins, again, legumes, grains, nuts, seeds, vegetables. So we need to have a balance, okay? Sometimes you hear some people say, I'm on a low carb, no carb diet. And you want to specify, you mean you are on a no simple carb diet, because that's the one that might not benefit your body. But complex carbohydrates are very good for you. Our next category is fats. And you see in parentheses, healthy fats, because again, there are categories to fats. It's amazing how we're created to be so autonomous. We can make our decisions. We can make good decisions and we can make bad decisions. And that is same for our food. Fats is another source of energy that our body uses as fuel. It's a concentrated source of energy. It helps us absorb our certain vitamins, our fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. So we need fats in order for our body to use those vitamins. Fats are used for insulation. It's used for our hormones. It's used to protect our organs. So when we break down fats, we break them down to essential fatty acids. That's crucial in helping reducing inflammation, in helping, again, it's involved in our transportation and hormones. And it helps with stress, okay, our stress response. Some good sources of fats include fatty fish like salmon, sardines, flax seeds, chia seeds, nuts and seeds are good sources of fats. So fats are classified into saturated and unsaturated fats. So the healthiest fats would be unsaturated, mono and polyunsaturated fats, and those you find in olive oils, avocado oils, okay? So next time you go to a fast food, McDonald's or Popeyes, find out if their chicken is fried in olive oil. Probably not, right? It's probably in the bad fats that's not good for you, okay? So if you want something fried at home, because you could choose the healthy fats, okay? The next macronutrients is water. It's not a food, but it's something essential that our body needs. Oops, let me go back. Something essential our body needs. Water, our body's made is about 70% water. We have water inside our cells. It's essential for life. It helps with digestion. It helps with temperature regulation. It helps with overall cellular function. So, Tamara just got thirsty. She just got thirsty. So just clean filtered water is best for your body. And the amount of water that we all need is individualized. It's dependent on your age, your level of physical activity. It's dependent on the climate. Sometimes when it's cool in Florida, you think you don't need that much water, but you actually need even more. So we always, we have to keep our hydration status. There's a lot of high water content foods like watermelon, cucumber, lettuce, those you could get is 95% water, you could get good sources of hydration. But plain good old water is good. This is not a macronutrient because actually fiber falls under the category of carbohydrate, but I wanna bring fiber out because it's so important. Dietary fiber helps with our digestive system. And if you don't know, our immune system, 70% is located in your digestive tract. So these microbes that we have in our digestive system, fiber is what feeds it. So if you don't have enough fiber, you're not feeding the army that you have inside to help you fight whatever you need to fight, okay? So fiber is very important. It also helps you if your goal is to lose weight because it helps you feel full. It helps you control your blood sugar, okay? So carbohydrates is not an enemy, but you just have to pick the right one for you. So Understanding the role of nutrition in cancer care. So now we know that food is what feeds our bodies. It gives us energy. It serves as a building block for growth and repair. So what we put in our mouths matter, okay? When your body is under stress because of cancer, your body's depleted. Now, on top of that, you throw cancer treatments, chemo, radiation, your body's even more depleted. So it's even more important to get those nutrients that you need to keep yourself from not being depleted, because you can't fight a fight without energy, without fuel, okay? So it's vitally important that you keep up with good nutrition. Nutrition helps you manage your symptoms. You're gonna get fatigue, just like it was mentioned. You're gonna have nausea, vomiting. You're gonna lose your appetite. You're not gonna wanna eat, but you have to keep up your nutrition if you're gonna give your body a chance to heal. Nutrition basically supports our overall well-being. It helps with our immune system, as we mentioned. And it helps you just to be stronger so you could tolerate the cancer and the cancer treatments. And integrative medicine views nutrition as an integral part. You come to the office, we're gonna ask you, what is your diet like? And we're gonna help you adjust it accordingly. So there's challenges, nutritional challenges for those who are in their cancer journey that we have to address. Loss of appetite, maybe because of the cancer, maybe because of a treatment. Sometimes you just don't want to eat. It just could be just a mental and emotional that you lose your appetite. So we want to address these challenges. You start chemo radiation and all of a sudden what you used to love, you can't eat because it tastes like you're eating a piece of metal. Your mouth changes, you have maybe soreness in your mouth. So all these things will impact your nutrition. So we have to address these challenges. Maybe you have, Dr. Freeman mentioned maybe radiation, maybe it's neck or throat cancer, and you have difficulty swallowing. So you have to eat. So maybe we have to adjust the texture, the consistency of the food, just so you could get that nutrient. And if all these things impact, you might end up malnourished. And there's this, or you might end up cachectic, which is not just the fact you're not eating or you're malnourished, but your body is not assimilating your fats and your proteins in the correct way, and you're losing a tremendous amount of weight. So integrative medicine can help you address, with the help of nutritionists, address these challenges that you might face. How do we address these challenges? We have individualized dietary plans tailored to your needs. Again, we mentioned maybe changing the texture or how the food is. Maybe you have to blend all your food, you have to sip all your food through a straw, but it's important to get that nutrition. Maybe you say, I hate drinking water. Maybe you have to put some flavor enhancement just so you could get your hydration in. And we do have techniques that we share with our patients if they have that metallic taste in their mouth. It's called oil pulling with coconut to help move those toxins out of that rich blood vessels in your mouth. So we share these techniques with our patients just so they can enjoy and they could take in the nutrients that they need. So hydration in cancer, if you don't leave out of here, you will leave that you need to hydrate. We are chronically dehydrated in this society. So hydration is so important. As we know, we need it for our bodily functions. Staying well hydrated for a cancer patient especially can support your natural healing process. It boosts your energy and it helps alleviate some of the side effects of the treatment. it helps with your body's detoxification. Your kidneys, your liver, they need that water. That's your detoxification pathways. So maintaining good hydration helps with, again, digestion, which would alleviate nausea if you make sure the food is going down when it needs to. It helps with temperature regulation, and it helps with you to absorb your nutrients. Okay? And lastly, balancing in electrolytes. So if you feel you're drinking a lot of water, but you still kind of feel off, maybe your electrolytes are imbalanced. So coconut water is a great source of natural electrolytes. I would stay clear of Gatorade, those artificially flavored water. We have a great homemade Gatorade recipe that you could do without the chemicals or the harmful artificial that could hurt you. So, I know, here we go. I'm sorry. So, we're not gonna talk about the things you can't do, okay? We're not gonna talk about that. You know deep down inside what you should be eating. But we wanna focus on the things you can do, okay? I'm just leave it at that. So, but the point is, if you eat more of these healthy foods, it kind of crowds out the bad things by itself just naturally. If you make it a goal to every day, I'm gonna eat a food that looks like the rainbow, you're not gonna have time to pick up the processed foods that could not benefit your body. So outside, we also have, this is our anti-inflammatory food pyramid that we share with all our patients. And on the bottom of the pyramid, that's where you have your 5 to 7 servings of vegetables and fruits. If you eat 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, you're not gonna have space for the junk, okay? Your grains, 3 to 5 servings of grains, legumes, and beans. Those have the fiber, the antioxidants, everything that your body needs for your cell to function, to feed the powerhouse of your cell. Fatty fish, your omega-3, your sardines. Don't sleep on sardines. I know it's cheap, but it's good for you, okay? Mushrooms are immune modulators. Mushrooms are so good for you. And we have your eggs, your animal proteins, and you're gonna see the animal proteins are just 2 servings a week.
Bite your tongue.
2 servings a week, because there is research that it does, that is an impact in cancer. So we don't have to eat animal protein every day, 3 times a day, every meal. Just say, I'm gonna leave that steak for Sunday and I'm gonna enjoy it so much. Savor that food. But when you eat something every day, after a while, it's just not as, that's me. And as Dr. Carcas mentioned with the wine, you could see it's on the top. It's just the 1 serving a week of wine, if any, okay? So, steps for success. We could talk about all of this, but how you're gonna implement it in your life. So number 1, set clear, realistic goals. You're not gonna change your whole diet, and let's just pick one meal. Let's just say, in the mornings, I'm gonna have a healthy, nutrient-rich shake. I'm gonna put everything in it, my chia seeds, my flax seeds, my berries, my fats, my good oils. One meal is nourishing your body, okay? And then when that becomes a habit, after 21 days or so, then you could add on another. Create balanced, varied meals. So just like the rainbow of all the colors, make it a goal to say, today's gonna be purple, red, and yellow day. Let me get some purple cabbage, let me saute some green onions, some yellow peppers, because those colors are made for a reason. Those are all the flavonoids, the things that our body needs to help fight against disease. Meal prep. You know the sayings, if you fail to prepare to fail. You have to prepare. You have to give some time to plan out your meals. So pick one day and make it so that you're not reaching for something that's bad for you. Always have a healthy bar. On the weekends, me and my daughter, we make our own cereal. We make natural granola, and there's a recipe in the back. So easy. Instead of buying that box $8 cereal. Cereal costs $8 now.
I know.
$8. You get some oatmeal, some maple syrup, some nuts, some seeds, and you bake it for 5 minutes. So delicious. Some coconut strips. The recipe's in the back. Mindful eating and portion control. I teach my kids, before you eat, say grace, say a prayer, be thankful. That's the time your body takes to start salivating. Your body starts getting ready for that food. So mindful eating and chewing your food adequately is very important. We chew our food maybe 5-10 times before we swallow, when you should be chewing about 30 times to make sure your body's able to digest it. Stay hydrated. And then listen to your body. As Dr. Carcas mentioned, we know when we feel off. And then building consistency through routine. When you make things a habit, it becomes part of your life. So it's just small building blocks every day.
Ooh, I feel like I was in class all morning. So get up a little bit, shake it out, y'all. This is going to be interactive. God is good. He woke us up this morning. We are here. We are breathing. We're going to learn some therapeutic breathing also, so that we can get through things when things are challenging and stressful, and just to give you some other additional tools you can use that are free. You know, because things are a little difficult. Okay, yeah, so let's do a little stretching a little bit. So if you can, just go up on the tip of your toes a little bit to stretch out your calves, you know, and if you can, open your legs. And if you can, just lean forward a little bit, just a little bit. All right, and go back. And then put your hands in the air. Bring your feet back together again. Put your hands in the air. I heard you over there, DJ. Waving like you just don't care. All right, and then try to stretch up and touch the ceiling, so that way you're stretching out your back. Now lean to the side a little bit. Keep it there. Go back to the middle. The only time I'm redundant is if I'm trying to commit something to memory, then I'll, think of stuff over and over like we did almost 5 years ago, where we were trying to commit some stuff to memory. But we're not going to do that today, because everyone's time is precious. You heard a little bit about nutrition. The things you heard her say, they have a lot to do with our brains and our mental wellness. We need those antioxidants. We need those blueberries, those strawberries, those raspberries. We need bananas. We got to take care of our gut health. We need the almonds and the walnuts. Those are good for our brains too. But I'm not going to dive into the nutrition as much. And you heard a little bit about the oncologist mentioned how if your brain is not where it needs to be, nothing else will happen. And how do we get to that point? I talk a lot about prevention, because prevention is key. If you can prevent a lot of things from happening, you don't have to worry about Western medicine. You don't have to worry about treatment, because you're living your life in a manner that's preventative. So the young lady here, nurse practitioner Marie, she said in the beginning, how is your spirituality? And that's where I want to start. Because brain love is a term that I coined. Brain love is about mental health and wellness. And mental health and wellness includes physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. You need all 4 pieces to the puzzle. When you don't have those things, when you encounter a challenge in life, all hell will break loose. And it's because you weren't where you needed to be to begin with. And to get where you need to be to begin with, it's spirituality. It's your higher power. It's God. It's the Lord. It's Jesus Christ. It's Jehovah. Whatever it is for you, but that's where it begins. So how is your spirituality?
Great.
Say it again.
It's what got me through.
Say it again.
It's what got me through.
Yes. How's your spirituality, MC?
It is great. I love it. Try to stay chaos free, and everything else will come together for me.
It's amazing. It's out of this world. It's my beginning and my end and my everything.
Whew, period. Right there. So that's the thing that we forget a lot about, is that prayer, staying in prayer and having gratitude for the things that the Lord gives us as a challenge, and appreciating those things, because he gives it to you to make you resilient. I'm a psychiatrist. I ain't no pill pusher. I don't push pills. When someone needs a pill, or if it's indicated, I'll write it. But the first thing I ask my patients, do you pray? Do you meditate? Do you believe in a higher power? Do you love? Do you laugh? Do you hug? These are all the things that we forget about when we're living life on a day-to-day basis. So prayer, and staying in prayer even when things get tough, because when things become a challenge, it's not cool to say, Lord, I thought you had me. I thought you were going to take care of me. And stop praying and stop believing. And when you've been through an experience, when you've lived an experience and you personally know that that's the thing that kept you, and that's the thing that got you through, then you understand what I'm saying. And if you haven't been through that experience, just know your season will come. It always does. 2 months ago, I had a situation, and I have this best friend who I've been friends with since 5th grade. She's a judge now in Baltimore City, was an attorney. We went to college together. And I had a couple of situations, like 2023 was rough. And usually I don't have rough seas because I pray, I make healthy decisions, I try my best to make healthy decisions. I'm not Jesus. There are times when I slip, and I make a bad decision. But my season came, and my best friend said to me, she said, Delvena, it's your season. It's your season. Because I was asking, like, okay, what did I do wrong? Why is this happening this way? When the enemy comes, the enemy comes.
That's right.
And the enemy came. And I said to the Lord, I said, listen, whatever is supposed to happen, although I know it's unfair, I don't deserve it, I didn't do anything, I know this is not a mistake. And I prayed. And so, that's the lesson, is that in Romans 5:3 now, I'm not a pastor or minister. I don't have Bible verses committed to memory, so I'm going to read this so I don't jack it up. Not only that, but we also rejoice in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. It produces perseverance. So cancer is not just a physical diagnosis, it's a psychological diagnosis. So to prepare, because you don't know when your season will come. You don't know when the season will come that you have a physical challenge. You don't know when the season will come when a friend just told me the other day, her husband told her, I'm tired of being married. They've been together over 20 years. He told her, I'm just tired of being married. Her season came. When your child may go through something, you've tried over and over to teach them the best way you know how, and they do something that you don't expect. So we don't know when our season will come. So to be prepared for the season, it's good to practice all the things in the beginning to help you manage it, the things that we consider preventative, the things like prayer, meditation, as well as having the good nutrition, the exercising, going to see your primary care doctor for preventative maintenance, getting your checks done, checking your blood pressure, checking your cholesterol. So it's good to have that in place, and it's good to have coping skills as well. Coping skills are things that you do to help make you feel better when you feel stressed. What are some things that you guys do to help you cope when you're feeling stressed? You can yell them out. Actually, we heard exercise. Give me something else, y'all. Pilates, yes. Treadmill, read. I heard something. Beach. That's why I moved here. Yep, I got divorced in 2006. My mom passed in 2005. And I said, I was finishing residency in 2007, and I said, Lord, where am I going? I interviewed all these different places around the country. And I came to Miami, Florida, and sat at Bayside and was drinking a mojito. And I said, oh, Lord, you just gave me my answer. I'm coming to Miami. And everything just lined up perfectly for me to relocate here. I didn't have any family at all. None of my family was here. Left my dad and my brothers back home like, y'all be all right. So yes, the beach, water, fresh air. What else? Say again? Tai Chi. Are you doing Tai Chi? Okay, but no, that is a perfect example because Tai Chi is a mindful exercise. We heard about mindfulness during the last presentation. You repeat the cycle. And you continue to do that inhalation, and you can change it to what you want. It can be 4 seconds you inhale, 7 seconds you hold it, 8 seconds you breathe out or exhale, or you can do, 5, 7, 9, whatever it is. The patients calling for Adderall and Xanax. Someone said, okay, you understand Adderall and Xanax. So it's a lot of energy that gets thrown at you, right? Because that's addiction. That's substance abuse, and that's a lot of negative energy. So sometimes I just gotta go in my office, close the door, turn on some music, light a candle, light an incense, sit at my desk, and breathe. And then just be thankful and thank God for everything. Thank you for these patients who don't care about living or dying and all they want to do is get high because they don't understand. I'm going to pray for them. Thank you for my son who's being obedient and has listened to me through it all and eventually did what I told him to do. Thank you that I'm not cooking tonight like I haven't in over a year, but I have the means to go and get a healthy meal somewhere. Gratitude. Someone mentioned that also as well. So I'm not going to hold us too long because we've heard so much useful information. These ladies were very informative. I just wanted to give you all something to think about. In closing, think about always staying in prayer and making that a part of your life constantly. I pray in the car, I pray in the shower, I pray in the bath, I pray everywhere. Prayer as well as gratitude and being thankful and being a loving person, smiling, saying hello to a stranger. You don't have to know them. And hugs, loves and hugs and kisses, those things raise our endorphins, our feel-good chemicals. They help us to feel better. And you don't always have to know what to say to someone. So when I first learned about your journey, that was like, wow, because you just never know what someone is going through. We have to keep that in mind when we encounter people. We never know. We don't know their story. We have no idea. And sometimes we don't know what to say, but if you don't know what to say, you don't have to say anything. Give a hug. Give them a hug. And so for folks who might be going through a similar situation, there's a lot of support groups out there. There's individual therapy. Really quickly, I'll say this lady called the office, made an appointment, talked to one of our nurse practitioners, and she didn't want medication. And the nurse practitioner told me that she said to her, I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I don't know why I made an appointment with you guys. And she said to her, it's not medication. You can have psychotherapy too. You can talk to someone. You may not identify a problem right now, but speaking to someone and just processing things and having a neutral, unbiased person who ain't your mama, ain't your sister, ain't your mother-in-law, that is very helpful to just talk and process. I want to make sure I don't forget one last thing and then I'll get out your here. All right, yeah. So someone mentioned it, to share. Share. Don't withhold. And don't be on an island by yourself. Don't destroy relationships. Don't isolate. Sometimes I go to nursing homes and I have patients who, they're like in their 80s. They didn't have a brother or a sister. Their parents didn't have siblings, so there were no cousins. And they just live life all by themselves. That breaks my heart. That's a lonely way to live and not have a community. So create a circle, because it's going to mean something to you, and it has to be a healthy circle. The toxic people, if they are your blood relatives, they can still be in the circle, but push their ass, push them all the way. I'm so sorry, pardon me. Push them all the way to the outside of that circle. You want them as far away from you as possible. And sometimes people just want to, they want to cut someone completely off. That's your prerogative. That's your prerogative. But I would say, what would Jesus do? Have grace. Because oftentimes people who are toxic is because of stuff that has happened to them.
That's right.
A lot of things have happened to some of us. We're walking next to someone who just went through hell as a child. All right, guys, I'm Dr. Delvena. Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
Dr. Carcas, you talked about, I think it was, what I've come to know as BRCA testing. Is that something that you can easily get done, or is
You talked about earlier about what I believe is BRCA testing. Is that something that you can easily get done through your medical treatment, or are there any complications to have that happen?
We need her mic on, please.
Okay, so that's a really good question, and this is really where that discussion of family history came in. If you have a family history of a first-degree relative, that means mother, sibling, child, okay, within one generation from you, that has aggressive type of cancer, or more than 2, even getting into second degree, so grandparent, cousin, nephew, you need to start thinking, oh, something else might be going on in my family. Genetic testing is so cheap now. Back 10 years ago, when Deetra was initially tested, those 2 genes would have cost about $4,000 or $5,000. Now we do 90 genes. If your insurance didn't cover, $250. We spend $250 on our bags, on our bags, on our clothes,
On our hair.
Absolutely.
These women in here do.
I was gonna say, I don't.
I don't know about you. But these
I
women
don't.
in here spend $250 just on hair.
I agree. I got that.
Keeping it real, Doc. Keeping it
So
real.
absolutely you should get genetic testing. You can get genetic testing through your OBGYN. If your OBGYN is not comfortable with doing genetic testing, if you have a strong family history of breast or ovarian cancer, you can be seen in a high-risk clinic. And high-risk clinics are available at all of the local cancer centers. That means I'm part of the Baptist organization, so I'm a Baptist. Memorial has it. Cleveland Clinic has it. Holy Cross has it. Broward Health has it. You can get it anywhere. It's easily accessible, but I do not recommend that you think that if you do 23andMe, that is your genetic test. That is not your genetic test, right? It does not do all of the clinical evaluations. I can't tell you the number of patients I have who did 23andMe and they found out that they were BRCA negative. 23andMe looks at the very few gene mutations in BRCA1 and BRCA2 that are seen in Ashkenazi Jewish populations. That does not account for what we know is more frequent in African American populations and Caribbean American populations. Bahamian women are much more likely to have a gene mutation than other areas of the Caribbean even, but the Caribbean as a whole has a higher risk of gene mutations than African American women. Not only that, while we're talking about this, because I am the minority in this room, I think it's so important to speak to you women, because when you get cancer, it is more aggressive than if I get that same cancer. And I can't tell you why, because we don't know why, but we know that Black women, regardless of origin, Hispanic women, regardless of origin, are more likely to have aggressive breast cancer than white women are. And it's not even an access to care issue. It's the biology of the tumor behaves different in your body, which means that it has to be detected early. We detect it early if we know we have a family history, and we don't need to wait till we're 40. Remember my 34-year-old patient that is dead? She couldn't wait till she was 40 to start her screening. But had she known that she carried that gene mutation, she would have started in her 20s with surveillance, at age 30 already with imaging, and this could have been found and her life could have been spared. So genetic testing, colon cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, sarcomas, prostate cancer. If you are the only woman and your dad had all brothers and all of the brothers had prostate cancer, you should be really scared that you could get breast cancer and you could get ovarian cancer. Because prostate cancer in men means breast and ovarian in women. If you have all women on one side of your family and you're a man and it's breast and ovarian cancer, and you're a man, you don't have breast, well, you have breast, you don't have ovaries. You can get breast cancer, actually, if you have one of those gene mutations, but you are much higher risk for prostate cancer. You have to know that this is not it affects only the women. It can affect anybody, male or female, if you have a gene mutation. So genetic testing, super, super, super important for that prevention. And not only that, if you have a gene mutation, certain gene mutations, we don't remove the whole colon, but you get a colonoscopy annually, or you get a colonoscopy every 3 years. We change our screening to find it, prevent it, find it at a point where it does not impact you the rest of your life.
I have a question for Marie quickly. The integrative medicine, is it just if you have a cancer diagnosis or anything, or can anybody do integrative medicine at any time for anything?
It's anybody at any time. You could, like I said, some come for body composition. They want to lose weight. And we have a lot of worried well.
Say it again louder, please.
Improved body composition. And we have a lot of patients, they're perfectly healthy, but they're so worried, they're so vigilant not to catch anything, so they come to us, and because they want to implement those lifestyle changes so they could prevent something from happening.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Michelle.
Oh, yes, sent to her alkaline water. Are you, because you kept saying hydration. That's alkaline water is all over the shelves. I remember when my diagnosis, everybody bought me boxes of it. So does that help?
So I don't know if there is any evidence on that, as far as the best way to alkalinize your body is exercise. It's taking in that oxygen, and it's eating foods that will alkalinize your body. So we don't know what they have in those alkaline waters that you buy in the store. So it's best to do it the natural way with exercise.
No? You mentioned about the toxic people and putting themselves or them way out there. But in your practice, I know you see people every day who literally are living lives in chaos. How do you get out of that? Whether it's a bad marriage, a bad job, you don't like your sibling, whatever it may be. I think that's hard for people to do. They don't know how to live other than in chaos.
Yeah, change is hard. So we start by helping them understand where the chaos began and where it came from. So understanding the abusive childhood they may have had, and abuse comes in so many forms, including neglect and not having parents who say, I love you, or give you hugs, or take care of you consistently. So you have to explore the childhood first, and then you allow them to talk themselves into a plan, because psychotherapy is not about sitting someone down and telling them what to do, but it's about helping them to understand and to be able to create a plan for themselves.